This is QTV News. I am Mamudu Gajaga. Thanks for joining us. First, the headlines. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the adoption of the Convention of Rights of the Child. We hear how it was commemorated in the Gambia. On the second day of his nationwide tour, President Barrow meets the residents of Baddibu. We hear what happened there. On the third day of the TRRC sittings at Jambur, we hear from yet more victims of ex-President Jammeh's witch hunt. And a regional training course for media personnel on disaster risk reduction is currently on the way in Ghana. For more on these and other stories, stay tuned. This is QTV News, and thanks for joining us. Now the news in detail. The Convention of the Rights of the Child was adopted by the UN General Assembly on the 20th of November 1989, and the pledge this year is for every child a right. The 30th anniversary was commemorated on Wednesday by the Department of Social Welfare under the Ministry of Women and Children in partnership with Child Protection Partners. The event was held at the QCT Conference Hall in Bijolo. Maria Tussar has more details.
The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is a human rights treaty which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health and cultural rights of children globally. The commemoration commenced with a march past by school children and task force members on the theme, Where We Are and Where We Want to Be. Jankoba Jabi, Director, Department of Social Welfare, commends the government on the various resolutions passed to promote children's rights, like the Children National Assembly and Ministry of Women Affairs, Children and Social Protection. Musukuta Komma, Country Director, Child Fund, the Gambia says, the 30th anniversary is not just about celebrating, but also about reflection on the progress as a nation in promoting the rights of children.
Commemorating the coming into being of the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of the Child, exactly 30 years today, is not only a moment of joy and celebration, but more importantly, a time for sober reflection on the plight and the status of children, and of course, how far we have come as a world, as a nation, and as a society, as far as the promotion of the rights and the welfare of children are concerned.
Child Rep. Amidrame called on the Ministry of Women's Affairs, Children and Social Protection to strengthen protection policies for children.
On the Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare to increase their services for children and strengthen the protection policies for children in the Gambia. With the establishment of the National Children's Assembly, it has demonstrated the active participation of children in decision-making, hence the efforts of government is clear in empowering children. In conclusion, sustainable development can only be achieved if we change our attitudes and ensure that it is not business as usual and break the culture of silence and prioritize child protection.
Maria Tusala, Director of SOS Children's Village, says the task to make the convention a reality is not just for the government but everyone's duty.
The task, however, must engage not just governments but all members of the society. The standards and principles articulated in the convention can only become a reality when they are respected by everyone within the family, in schools, and other institutions that provide services for children in the communities and at all levels of administration. We will continue to advocate for the rights and welfare of the children in the Gambia and around the world.
This year marks the 30th anniversary since the convention was ratified by the United Nations General Assembly in 1989. The convention protects the rights of all children to be free from discrimination, violence and neglect, amongst others.
We are the world. We are the children. We
are the ones that make a better day, so let God be there.
For QTV News, I am Maria Tussar.
The people of Baddibu have declared their full support for President Barrow and his National Development Plan. They were speaking during meetings at Baddibu Saba and Salikenye on day 2 of President Barrow's ongoing Meet the People's tour. As Aliou Cisse reports, the people also said their concerns with the president.
The president's tour continues on Tuesday with meetings in Baddibu Saba, Baddibu Salikenye and Farafenye. Speaking at the meetings, President Barrow said his tour is a constitutionally mandated one for him to dialogue with Gambians to know their concerns and the impact of his government's policies on their lives. While thanking the people of Baddibu for the rousing welcome accorded to him, he said all the initiatives taken by his government are in the interest of Gambians. As examples, he cited the Constitutional Review Commission, the Jammeh Commission of Inquiry, and the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. He pointed out that the government has further initiated several infrastructural developments, such as the Banjul Project and the Road and Bridges Project in the Upper River region. While advocating peace, the government leader warned that law violators will not go unpunished. He urged the people of Baddibu to continue to give government the support needed to realize the development aspirations for the good of all. He said the Gambia belongs to all, and therefore no one should be allowed to sabotage the peace and stability that Gambians are enjoying. According to him, there won't be any meaningful development in the absence of peace and stability. At the Baddibu Saba meeting, speaker after speaker, including Chief Fabala Kinte of Law Baddibu and Honorable Alaji Jawara, all gave assurance of their support to President Barrow. While encouraging him to officially establish his political party, the locals also put to the president some of the problems affecting the area. Among the concerns mentioned were a lack of decent roads and an inadequate electricity supply. They also pleaded for the Karawan Minor Health Facility to be upgraded to a major one. Women farmers lamented salt intrusion at their rice field. Lands Minister Musa Jammeh, on behalf of the Agriculture Minister, said the problem of salt intrusion will be looked into. Alhaji Jawara, who is among the recently expelled UDP MPs, said he and his other colleagues will give all their support to President Barrow for the progress and development of the country. We will continue to support the president, provided he respects the constitution and human rights, he declared. Tourism Minister Hamad Bah urged Badibunkas to support President Barrow, advising them against politics of deception. President Barrow, he went on, has the interests of Gambians at heart. Health Minister Amadou Samate said the government has invested millions in securing equipment and drugs and intends to upgrade and renovate health facilities. He promised that all health-related concerns raised during the tour will be noted and considered by his ministry. From Sabah, the president and delegation held a meeting in Baddibu Salikenye, where people came out in numbers to welcome the president. Here, locals made similar pleas for the government to consider key rules and healthcare within the area. They also preached for peace and stability. The president wrapped up his day 2 engagements with another meeting in the commercial town of Farafenye, where he spent the night. Reporting for QTV News from Farafenye in the North Bank region, I am Aliou Cisse.
Witnesses in Jambur have continued to testify on the ongoing witch hunt exercise that took place in 2009. 2 of the oldest residents of Jambur and a victim from Makumbaya on Wednesday narrated their ordeals at the hands of the witch doctors. Babu Karsi reports.
Masire Bojang, one of the oldest residents of Jambur, was the first to give her testimony. Madam Bojang told the commission that she was selling peanut at the market when soldiers arrested her and take her to Kololi with others. She said upon arrival, they were forced to drink the concoction.
It's a tomato tin which has been made into a cup, and they will fill this cup and tell you to drink it. If you cannot finish the cup, they'll tell you no, you have to drink it all. When I drank that medicine, my stomach started troubling me there. I started feeling stomach pain. Yes, I spent the night there. I slept on the bare floor. I was not even given a mat, much more something to spread. We came back home the following morning.
Masre Bojang said the moment she drank the concoction, she developed stomach ache and was rolling on the floor, and she was released on the following day. Since then, She said she still suffers from stomach ache, body pain, and her eyes are also affected despite visiting hospitals. The next witness was Mamadou Kah Bojang, a former driver who was also arrested and taken to Kololi. According to him, the people that abducted him told them that Yaya Jammeh sent them to the village to collect sick people and take them to Kololi to drink medicine.
From the moment I drank that medicine, my first problem was urinating. But where I was, I don't know. The time I came to realize where I was, it was dawn.
Mr. Bojang said since drinking that concoction, he frequently involuntarily passes urine whilst his legs and waist still pain him. Ansumana Sajo was the third witness of the day, a resident of Makumbaya. He recalled the day he was at his workplace, a Coos milling machine which he operates. He said he was also taken away after some debate to Kololi and was pressured to drink the herbal concoction, he said.
Me, I didn't sleep. I can say that it was semi-death. Well, somebody who had drunk this type of concoction, two cups, well, I can say that, well, if you are not dead, you are half dead.
After his release the following day, Mr. Sajo said his health is still deteriorating. Mr. Sajo said Halifa Sallah later came to interview him about what had happened with him and the rest of the people abducted. After that, he said the police from Banjul station arrested him, who later took him to the police headquarters in Banjul. Later, he was moved to the NIA, where he saw Halifa Sallah and Ensa Jesus Baji. According to Sajo, his statement was taken and he was left to go home. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
A regional training course for media personnel on disaster risk reduction is underway in Ghana. The training is organized by ECOWAS with support from the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. Our reporter Jennifer Sonko is currently attending the training in Ghana and see now reports.
The training brings together journalists from ECOWAS Anglophone countries for a training on disaster reporting. Disasters triggered by natural hazard events have increased in occurrence and severity over recent years. In West Africa, disasters such as floods and drought are projected to worsen in many countries as a result of climate change. The starting point for reducing disaster risk lies in the sound understanding of the hazards. The Principal Program Officer, Disaster Risk Reduction, Mohammed Ibrahim, in an interview with QTV said, journalists can and must do more than just informing the public about disasters.
What really motivated this training is the need to enhance capacity of information gathering and dissemination in terms of communication regarding disaster risk reduction, and to also see how to build synergy between the media experts and disaster management officers and actors, especially on the field, the way news regarding disaster management are being reported, the way this information is being spread, and also to see how to give facts in terms of reporting.
Cherno Omar Bob, a participant from the Gambia, spoke about the impact of the training.
As journalists, we have a critical role to play when it comes to disaster management, not just in terms of reporting, but as well as changing the mindsets of people, and then also educating them on before the measures to take before disasters occur, when they occur, and after disasters occur. So I think this training is very key, and it will help me a lot in reporting accurately when it comes to disaster management.
Floods seem to be one of the biggest hazards in West Africa. More than 50% of ECOWAS countries are exposed to high flood hazards. The
The percentage of the populations exposed to flood hazard zones are expected to increase in the future if proper care is not taken. This year, the Gambia has experienced various natural hazards including windstorms and floods. Reporting from Accra, Ghana, I am Jena Bosonko.
We'll now take a short commercial break. When we return, we hear about a forum set up to help businesses start.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Welcome back. A two-day National Startups Forum to discuss issues affecting startups was organized by the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and the Employers Association in partnership with Conrad Adenauer Foundation. Malik Nyang has more.
The National Startup Forum aims to enlighten and empower young startups to develop and enhance their skills in innovative techniques and entrepreneurship. The program brings together startups, public sector officials and policymakers to discuss issues affecting startups to devise functional policies that could support them. Ulimatu Esdin Sar, Senior Business Development Officer of GCCI, tells us more.
So this program is basically the National Startup Forum. It's basically a forum that brings together all startups from our chapter and startup category members, though it's not limited to them. It's basically it create a platform for them where they could not only network, but they will be opportune to learn from the experiences of seasoned industry experts that have been in the industry for quite a while on various topics of discussion.
As finance becomes the major challenge for startups, she says the forum will also provide a way for startups to find finance to uplift their businesses. She added that the forum will also teach startups about ecosystem to orient them in the business environment they operate. Creating favorable policies helps startups conduct their business transactions easily. The manager for business development and projects of GCCI, Babukar Saho, explains more.
In terms of policy, I think one thing that is very important is we have to put the issue of policy into its right perspective at first, and in such that the policies that are enacted and implemented will go a long way in terms of deciding what the environment is in which these startups operate and the general business environment as well. Are we talking about a tax policy? Are we talking about the incentive policy? Are we talking about policies that has to do with registration of startups? Are we talking about policies that has to do with setting the right soft and hard infrastructure in place so that these startups can scale up and then thrive and then create jobs, revenue for government, etc., etc.
A participant, founder, and farm manager of ML Poultry, Momodu Lamin Fati, also shares his opinion of the forum.
It brings young startups all over the country to come in and to learn from each other, because maybe I might be into the poultry business, you might be into the other business, but at the end of the day, we are all into the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And right now in the Gambia, the entrepreneurship ecosystem is booming. So it is high time for us to have such a forum so that we can be unified and have one voice. And GCCI is here with its partners to coordinate that.
In addition to the discussions, some startups brought along their business and showcased their products and services to promote and expose them to potential customers. Malik Nyang for QTV News.
An advocacy event on empowering women through public procurement was organized by the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry and GAIPA in partnership with UNDP. The event is meant to raise awareness of the challenges faced by women and young entrepreneurs. Aisha Jain reports.
Women and young entrepreneurs face interconnected barriers to accessing opportunities associated with public procurement in the Gambia. These barriers range from legal and regulatory hurdles to gender biases and lack of knowledge about contract management, networks, and finance. The event provides a platform for sharing of information that will stimulate an increase in entrepreneurial activity by women-owned businesses and provide solutions to challenges. The president of the Gambia Women Chamber of Commerce, Nafi Bari, says women still remain underrepresented as entrepreneurs and they earn 30 to 40% less than their male counterparts. She gives the steps needed to move towards more inclusive, gender-sensitive public procurement.
The Gambia Public Procurement Authority, GPPA, needs to be structured in ways that would enable their own transformation towards gender-sensitive practices. Gender equality promotion in public procurement should be clarified in the national legislation and not be left as a discretion. Greater efforts should be made to create a synergy of interest between women as entrepreneurs or workers within the supply chain and women as consumers of public goods, public works, and services.
GAIPA's Director of Business and Expert Development, Lamin Gay, says government procurement provides a wide range of opportunities and offers a fiscally responsible route to empower women, combat poverty, and promote inclusive economic growth. However, the percentage of women in procurement in the Gambia remains low.
The government of the Gambia spends $5 billion on procurement of goods, works, and services annually. And it has been reported in 2019 that out of the 1,649 tenders registered, only 416 were women vendors, of which only 10% is awarded to them. So that's insignificant. So we need to do better than this as a country.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Trade, Abdullah Jammeh, says women make up 50.1% of the Gambian population and 38% of the labor force. He adds that the government is aware that despite women's centrality in economic development, women empowerment remains a challenge. He assures women of the government's support.
The government commits to increase its efforts to building the capacity of women entrepreneurs, establish Women Enterprise Fund to address the challenges women face in accessing finance, and adopt legislative reforms to address the underrepresentation of women in decision-making.
The theme of the event is the Gambia on the way to business transformation, improved access to business opportunities for women. The advocacy will help increase women's participation in bidding for, getting and executing government contracts in sectors that have been traditionally gender-blind, such as tourism, ICT, energy, and urban development, amongst others. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aisha Jain.
Before we end this bulletin of the news, let's have a quick look at our main news stories. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the adoption of the Convention of the Rights of the Child. We hear how it was commemorated in the Gambia. On the second day of his nationwide tour, President Barrow meets the residents of Baddibu. On the third day of the TRRC sittings at Jambur, we hear from yet more victims of ex-President Jammeh's witch hunt. That's all we have time for you on this newscast. Until we come your way tomorrow, bye for now.